Ladies and gentlemen, this is the value of wrestling, where we vow to put the value back into wrestling. And we're right here on YouTube. And ladies and gentlemen, we've been telling you it's coming. And finally, an episode, the first episode of a brand new program right here on the Value of Wrestling YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for... Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Big Time Rants with me, your host of Big Time, right here on the Value Wrestling YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me. I hope you go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what you think of a brand new program called Big Time Rants. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we're here for Big Time Rants. And I am your host of this brand new program. It's going to be me flying solo. And today, we're going to go over the Bloodline, the current storyline. We're going to rant, we're going to rave, we're going to discuss, we're going to go over some of the points because I really find it interesting that a lot of people are pissed off, unhappy, dissatisfied, turned off by the events that took place at SummerSlam and where the Bloodline storyline's going, when it looks like they told you where the storyline's going. Like, the obvious story was there. So this is Big Time Rants. This is a program where I'm going to rant and discuss what's going on in wrestling, different events, different topics, different things in wrestling that I just feel we need to sit down and discuss. Of course, every week here we have the weekly roundup, which sums up the whole week of professional wrestling, along with the shows, programs, events, and news and rumors and all that wonderful stuff. So definitely look for that on YouTube. We have 2 episodes up. I hope you've gone ahead and watched those. Make sure you hit that like, hit that bell for notifications. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Subscribing really helps us grow, pushes out the algorithm so we get out there into the system. So I'm going to take these headphones off now because they're not necessarily needed. And we're going to talk. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Bloodline storyline. And I hear a lot of people, they're upset because they're like, why are we going backwards? Why do we have Jimmy turn on Jay? And ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't really pay attention, then I think you missed the whole storyline, because after Money in the Bank and after Jay had made his choice and Jimmy was taken out, they built up the storyline. They told you it was Jay's fault. Jimmy being hurt was Jay's fault. Jimmy being hurt was Jay's fault. Continuously telling you the same story over and over again. And that's why I said that it's probably going to be Jimmy that's going to come out and turn on Jay. Or cost Jay. Because we knew going into SummerSlam, and if you didn't know, then I don't know where you really were. Jay wasn't going to win. As much as we may have wanted it in our hearts, as much as we may have been like, this would be cool for a moment, it wasn't meant to be. I mean, if Jay were to beat Roman and take that title, and take the title of Tribal Chief, and be head of the table, and all that great stuff, where would you take Jay next? Who would be Jay's next opponent? Where would the story really go from there? It'd be interesting, and yes, you could write a story, but there was no feet under it, and there was never any desire to make Jay champion. That was never in the works. It was a story to continue the story, to get us through to what the bigger story is. And I know that sounds like I just ran around a bush, and that's okay. But people are upset that it seems like Jimmy has betrayed Jay, and they don't get why it seems like it's going backwards. Firstly, we haven't even gotten to SmackDown yet, so we don't know if Jimmy's even considering rejoining the quote-unquote Bloodline, or if he's going to be a solo act on his own and just mad at everybody. Now, one story could be, what if this was all a setup by Roman in the beginning? What if he used Jimmy to get Jay to act like this, to get him out of the Bloodline, to bring Jimmy back in? Of course, what if this is a Jimmy and Jay manipulation? What if they're actually working together and this is all a setup to get Roman to trust Jimmy so Jimmy can get back into the Bloodline, infiltrate the Bloodline, get Solo away from Roman so Roman stands alone? And again, this is simply maybe Jimmy will join back to the Bloodline And it was just the fact that time and time again, Jimmy was told it was Jay's fault. It was Jay that caused him to get hurt and be put out of action for the time. I mean, let's go back to when the storyline began. Jimmy was out, and Jay was what? He was main event Jay at that time. When Jimmy was out of action and couldn't wrestle, they focused solely on Jay and made Jay main event Jay. So why wouldn't Jimmy kind of be jealous of that? And now here we are again. Jimmy's injured and Jay's in the main event, fighting for the world title, going after the tribal chiefdom and trying to become the head of the table. And this shouldn't affect Jimmy? Well, the way I see it is I think the storyline was told. They told you it was Jay's fault, so Jimmy was going to have some fallout. Why people are shocked and upset, I don't get it. I don't know what people are thinking that is so far outside the box that they feel like it's jumping the shark, they feel like it's going backwards, they don't feel like it connects into anything. That just doesn't make sense. I'm telling you, well, it didn't seem like the storyline was going to go that way, but it's a good twist in the storyline. It changes up things. It means we get Jimmy versus Jay. Now, the rumors are that they have been talked about and were talking about having Jimmy versus Jay. That the Usos wanted this. They wanted to have an opportunity to face off one another in a match, and I think that as interesting as that is, that it's a very interesting way to go about things. And of course, I think we see all tag teams eventually face one another in some form or another for whatever reasons, and that's where we got in here. The Usos have pretty much accomplished everything as a tag team they could. They are the longest reigning world tag team champions. They are considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest tag team. I kind of not agree with the fact that people are putting them over as the best tag team to ever be in professional wrestling. Yes, they were the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions. Yes, they've definitely left an imprint and a mark on this landscape of professional wrestling. I just can't sit here and tell you that they are the best tag team in professional wrestling. But regardless of that, they've done a lot. They've done everything I think they can as a tag team. What could they do? Could they go back and win the tag team titles? Yes, you could write that out and make that happen. And yes, it would be an interesting feat. They could do it as baby faces now. But I think it's kind of like, where's that glass ceiling for them? Now, in singles competition, this really could set up more. This really could continue Jay to grow as men event Jay. And this could also elevate Jimmy, depending on how they do it and what they're going to do with it. Of course, there's a lot of other things we don't know. What other factors? What are the storylines that are coming around with this? Where is Jimmy going to fit in with the Bloodline? Is he going to be a part of the Bloodline? Is Jimmy going to be solo? Now, that's one thing people are talking about. They're going to talk about Jay being solo, Jimmy being solo, and Solo Sikoa is finally going to get enough of Roman Reigns and possibly leading into Survivor Series, maybe somewhere further down the line, before the end of the year at least. So I don't know exactly when that's going to be. I doubt it's going to be Payback, because the story hasn't been completely set in the stone yet where Solo is going to betray Roman or leave Roman or abandon Roman. But I know there's been talks about a four-way dance between Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and Jay Uso. So all four members of the Bloodline competing in a match, which could be interesting. I guess if Roman puts the Bloodline on the line, or puts the tribal chiefdom on the line, there might be something there to battle for. I guess you could put the world title on the line, or not the world title, excuse me, the WWE title on the line in that type of match, and you could set a precedence there. So a four-way dance for the title between the Bloodline. Again, we have to look where the story's going. We know where the story's going. It's WrestleMania. It's Roman Reigns is going to WrestleMania with this with this WWE title. Period. The story has been written. If you didn't go watch the documentary on Cody Rhodes, go watch it on Peacock, and it's going to tell you everything you need to know in that documentary. SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes getting put over by Brock Lesnar, as much as it is. And they say Brock Lesnar went off script and put over Cody at the end of the match on his own. If that's what Brock did, then that's what Brock needed to do. And, you know, it helped that whole story to put Cody Rhodes in that place to be the man. He is the man. He is been marked to be the next face of the WWE. Cody is going to take the title off of Roman at WrestleMania. And that's where the story is. They've told you the story. They told you Cody's going to finish the story. So Roman's not losing that title between now and WrestleMania. Now, Roman is supposedly hurt. Whether this is a legit injury or whether this is a kayfabe injury, we really don't know. The story's not completely out there. But it does give us a reason to possibly see Roman going off television. Now, he's supposed to be on Friday Night SmackDown. We'll see how that plays out. They may carry into his injury to push him off TV. He's supposed to take time off, which is actually, I think, a good thing. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, if Roman's injured, he should be stripped of the WWE Championship, which is just ridiculous. Again, it doesn't complete the story. And unless Roman is really seriously injured, where he's not going to come back in time to really defend that title, then that's a different thing. But if he's just slightly injured, that he's going to be off TV long enough that we're not even going to notice it or feel it, then no, he shouldn't be. You can't take that title off of everything you built, unless it's just you can't do anything else. And that makes it really sad because Roman's been built so strong. This story needs to be finished the way it needs to. And we're going to get it at WrestleMania. Roman's possibly hurt, but I don't think it's severe enough that we're going to notice any difference. He's going to go away for a little bit, probably after SmackDown. We'll get a good reason, maybe, why he's going to go away. Maybe we won't. We'll see, but he's going to go off. Then we're going to have Solo there with Paul Heyman. We're going to have Jimmy and Jay. Who knows how they fall out? Maybe Jimmy steps in to become the new right-hand man to the Tribal Chief and works with Solo. And then maybe Solo gets jealous of Jimmy. But the whole idea and the whole aspect is at some point the whole bloodline, is going to fall. The whole bloodline is going to separate because Roman will have to be able to stand alone at WrestleMania when he takes on Cody Rhodes. That's the ultimate story. It's the fall of the Roman Empire, quote unquote. That is the big idea that you would have to tell the right story. How is Cody going to come over Roman? Is by being ready to beat him at WrestleMania, but also the fact that you've taken all these things and the pieces that have made Roman strong, that have kept Roman where he is, have fallen apart. The bloodline has been one of the key pillars to keeping Roman undisputed WWE champion as he is now. And it's been them. And if you take each one of those pieces away, he doesn't have that. And now he's weak and vulnerable and much more easier to beat. And that's the story I think they're going to tell you going into WrestleMania. Roman has lost the bloodline. Roman stands alone. Will Roman, the quote-unquote God that they have made him into, be able to withstand a second onslaught of Cody, who has become the underdog, who has come from the behind, who has not given up? I mean, that's the story they told you with Brock. Brock kept beating him and throwing him out of the ring and telling him to take a count out, and Cody kept coming. And Cody is going to keep coming. And Cody is going to continue coming. And so, in the end, this is the story we're going to get. The second chapter. Roman versus Cody. WrestleMania 40. The Roman Empire is fallen. You know, Roman is standing up top of his mountain alone. He's about to die on his heel. Cody Rhodes, the undeniable face of professional wrestling at this time. The man who will not give up. The man who will not die. To take a page out of Matt Hardy's book. Yes, Cody Rhodes, his moment is coming. And that'll be at WrestleMania. And then so we got to get there. So what do you do to fill the time? We're going to give it Jimmy versus Jay. How's that play out? I don't necessarily know. Do we get it right away? Do we get one match now? Do we get a middle match somewhere in between here and WrestleMania? And then do we get the ultimate indie match at WrestleMania? Do we get a 3-match series? Could Jimmy and Jay tell a story that lasts through to WrestleMania? Where I think you ultimately want to have these two in this rivalry and begin to tell us what's going to happen. Are they doing this out of civil rivalry? Is Jimmy just jealous and this is going to be a brotherly argument that's eventually going to lead to them coming back together? You know what you could do? I mean, you could bring in Rikishi, who is their dad, to play a part in this storyline and to rebonding them. This could all be by the manipulation of Roman Reigns, which really it is. It's really Roman telling Jay it's Jimmy's, or telling Jimmy it's Jay's fault that Jimmy got hurt again. It's Jay's ego that's pushing him to become, this and costing Jimmy. And it's very plain to see. I mean, the storyline is really there. Jay, when Jimmy got hurt, before Jay was pushed into the front and became main event Jay, and then he was the right-hand man. He was the chosen man. He was the one that was selected by Roman. He was the one to become the next tribal chief. And in a lot of ways, Jay is shown within the last few months and building up to this event, to SummerSlam, where he kind of is becoming like Roman. He's becoming so obsessed with being the tribal chief, being in charge, being the man. Is he forgetting about taking care of his brother? Do we know if Jay checked in on Jimmy, why Jimmy was out of action, in the hospital, injured, whatever you want to say? Is this what Jimmy's upset about? Like, you didn't come see me. All you cared about was getting revenge. All you cared about was going after Roman, going after that title. Is this what Jimmy's going to tell us? That Jay wasn't there for him? Maybe Jimmy isn't the villain in this story. Maybe Jay really is. Because if you really look at it, Jay has become kind of egotistical. He's main event Jay. He should be the tribal chief. He should be the one taking the reins, and that's what that match was about, right? He was going to take the world title. He was going to be the new tribal chief. In some ways, a lot of Jay's characters is starting to shine and show Roman Reigns, showing that Roman setting him up to make him the tribal chief. And Jay's showing a lot of characteristics that Roman had in that would make him, a tribal chief. So Roman's kind of like, yeah, you're getting there. And even Paul Heyman pointed out there, you're acting more like a tribal chief every day. So it's going to be a very interesting story. It's going to be a very interesting way things are going to fold. But I don't think everybody should be so upset. We don't know all the details into the story. We don't know how the story is going to be written, and people are so upset. People are mad, like, oh, this is going backwards. Why is Jimmy betraying Jay? That doesn't make sense. He just got away from the bloodline. But if you haven't been paying attention, then I don't know what to tell you, because they've been telling you every week after Jimmy got hurt that it was Jay's fault, And we went into SummerSlam. We knew Jay couldn't win that title, but we also knew that some type of nefarious means were going to take place. What those were, we didn't know. And like I said on our first episode of the weekly podcast, I said it's going to be Jimmy, or it's going to be somebody from the outside and other family members. They either had to bring more people in to help reestablish a new version of Bloodline, or it would come down to Jimmy. And Jimmy was the most likely to make sense, because they told you the story time and time again that it was Jay's fault that Jimmy was injured. And if you repeat that in your head, eventually that could become truth. And I think that's the story they're going to tell. Now, Friday is going to give us a lot more answers, and I don't get why people want to jump the gun until we get to really filling in why Jimmy. Now, again, I got to take that back. We may not find out any information on Friday. Maybe Jimmy doesn't say nothing. Maybe Roman comes out and tries to beg Jimmy to come back into the bloodline, and Jimmy comes out and teases he will. Maybe Jimmy won't say anything. Maybe Jay will come out and confront Jimmy. There's a lot of things they can do here. They can really drag the story out for a long period of time. Now, we don't know. Again, we could also play the card, since these are brothers. Are Jay and Jimmy even going to want to fight? Is Jay going to really want to fight Jimmy because Jimmy did what he did to Jay at SummerSlam, quote unquote, costing him his opportunity to become the WWE champion and the tribal chief? Eventually, yes, but I don't know, is Jay going to be like, I'm not going to fight my brother even though you did me wrong? Is Jimmy not going to want to fight Jay? Why would he betray him? Now, yes, we think, okay, well, he betrayed him, so we should get a match. And yes, eventually I believe we're going to get a match. Are we going to get a payback? I don't know. Are we going to jump into this right away, or are we going to get a lengthening of the storyline to carry it out a little further? Friday, hopefully we'll know more. And that's the big key. We got to wait till Friday. But again, I don't know why everybody's jumping on this, crapping on it, and saying this doesn't make sense, or this is jumping the shark, or this feels like it's going backwards. This is just the next step and the next layer of the Bloodline storyline. This is a 3-year-old storyline now, and we're getting upset here now about, what's going on. Again, we have to wait and see. We have to have the blanks filled in. Could this become a crappy storyline? Possibly. Could this angle of it all go bad? Sure. That the writing's writing, and somebody could make this not come out as good as it is. But I think because of what Jimmy and Jay, Roman, Paul Heyman, all these people have done, I think in the end you're going to be quite satisfied with it. And I think people need to stop, breathe, and give us a little more chance, because it's just not Jimmy, why Jimmy? Yeah, I think a lot of it's people are just pissed off. And that's good, and that's the reaction they need. You need to be a little pissed off. You need to be a little angry, but I also think you need to smarten up and look at the bigger picture of what's really being shown here. What were they telling you coming in to SummerSlam? And what were your expectations? Now, I know a lot of people thought, this is the time. Jay's going to be it. Jay's going to be it. Roman needs to lose this title. But if you're not paying attention to the bigger picture, then I don't know where you're at, because it was never Jay's title to take. It was never Sami Zayn's title to take. We thought Cody was going to do it at WrestleMania, but then again, we looked at it and looked at what was the story that was really behind Cody. Unfortunately, Cody got injured and was out for a while after Hell in a Cell against Seth Rollins, and then came back, came in number 30 at Royal Rumble, won, and then he was on his way to WrestleMania, which is a great story. Cody overcoming, Cody coming back to win the title that his daddy never won. But look at the bigger story now that we've gotten. Now, again, people didn't like the first two matches with Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, but the third one was great. It really told the story. It really put in the position to make Cody that guy. Cody is the guy now. And now we just got to get Cody there. Now, if you think Cody's going to fight Seth Rollins for his title, that's not the story. They're going to tease it, and then they're going to take it away. Right now, we see that Seth Rollins is probably going to have to dance with Shinsuke Nakamura, and that's fine. Now, what I believe is you're going to see a build-up to Survivor Series, where Cody and Seth are going to have to learn to work together, to come to respect one another. I think that's the story. I think Cody has to earn the respect to Seth, and we can go from there. Of course, we could also get Cody getting into the Royal Rumble and throwing Seth out over the top rope and continuing that storyline, at least hanging it out there. If Seth Rollins, especially World Heavyweight Champion at that time, could be interesting. Could be a great story. We have to wait to see, but I don't think we're going to see Cody facing Seth Rollins anytime soon. Why do we want to see another Seth Rollins-Cody match right now? That would be, I think, the fourth match. I don't see Seth Rollins necessarily being good for him to lose the fourth match to Seth or to Cody, and I don't see Cody losing at all. Not until we at least get to WrestleMania and he wins the title. After that, it's a different story. But Cody can't lose. So the storyline is here. The Bloodline's falling apart. There's cracks in the foundation. We don't know who's trusting who. We don't know who's doing wrong to who. There's a lot of chaos in the Bloodline, and that's fine. That's where we should be. That's what we should be seeing. And there's a falling and collapsing of the Bloodline. We should see the fall and collapse in Roman's empire, because once that empire falls, that weakens Roman, and then he has to stand on his mountain alone. And then the man who comes in to take him down, why he falls on that mountain? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to make Cody Rhodes. WrestleMania 40 is going to be a great WrestleMania, I hope. And we're really seeing a great storyline being built into WrestleMania. We're getting really close. Here we are, wrapping up August. We've got a couple more weeks here, and then we're going to be in the September, October, November, and December real quick, the last 4 months of this year. And then we're going to be on the road to WrestleMania. The storyline's got to keep coming together. So let's see what happens on Friday. Will we get an explanation from Jimmy? I don't know. Will we get an explanation we like? I don't know. But I think we have to follow the storyline. Will Jimmy rejoin the Bloodline? I don't know. The storyline is there, but I think you've got to give it time to breathe. Everybody getting mad about it, I think you're not paying attention to what they're telling you. It's right there. They put it out there every week leading up into SummerSlam that it was Jay's fault that Jimmy got hurt. And Jimmy was like, you know what? Maybe there's some truth to that. So, anyways, you may agree, you may disagree, and that's fine. You can put your comments down below, and we can go from there. And we can keep discussing this topic. But for now, I think that's about all I have to rant on. So I thank you for joining me here on Big Time Rants on the Value of Wrestling YouTube page. Go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. If you want more Value of Wrestling videos, go ahead and check out the weekly roundup. Episodes 1 and 2 are on the air. If you want more, if you even want more, you can always join us on Spotify with our tag team partner Miguel, who is keeping you up to date on everything New Japan Pro Wrestling with Value of Wrestling on Spotify. So again, if you're a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, you might want to head over there. If you don't know anything about New Japan Pro Wrestling but want to learn, you might want to head over there. But I hope you stay tuned. There will be more of these little shows like the Big Time Rants with me, the Big Time. Other programs coming here to the YouTube channel of Value of Wrestling. I thank you for watching on the Big Time. This is Big Time Rants, and we are out.